All right, this is the practice problem video for 5.5, graphing linear functions. All right, so really the only thing we need to learn and memorize this unit is that this is the new way you will see an x. I don't know what just happened there. All right, that is an x, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of these are, you're just going to be plugging this value in for x, okay? Unless you see the identical thing like number 6, you have this is identical to the left side. That is when you will plug it in for the y. Okay? All of these you are plugging in for the x. Okay? So anytime you see a letter and then a number in the parentheses, right? You're going to be plugging it in for x. All right. Hopefully that's clear. So this is going to be 12 times -2 plus 1. And then all you have to do is simplify. What is 12 times -2? That's -24. -24 plus 1 would be -23. Okay? So the answer here would be the f of -2 is equal to -23. Okay, so when x is -2, y is -23. Okay, this is the same thing as like an ordered pair, right? An x and a y value. All right, so you're just going to move on from there. This one here, same thing. You're going to be plugging this in for the x value. So -8 times -2 minus 2, and then you just simplify. -8 times -2 is +16. +16 minus 2 is 14. Drop down what's on the left-hand side. So you're left with the p of -2 is equal to 14. All right. 3 is pretty similar, just multiplying by 6.5. You're just putting in these x values and multiplying by 6.5. Okay. Number 4. All right. The s of -2. Okay, so same thing here. We're going to be taking our equation and just substituting out the x. All right, and if you're not good with multiplying fractions, that's okay. You can use your calculator. 2/5 times -2 is -4/5. -4/5 plus 3 is equal to 11/5. Nope, I shouldn't write it like that. So 11/5. So I should put the actual answer as s of -2 is equal to 11/5. Okay. All right, we'll do the next one. This one's going to work out a little bit nicer. The s of 0. So 2/5 times 0. What's anything times 0? 0. 0 plus 3? 3. So the f of 0 is equal to 3. Okay. Maybe I should pause this. Maybe I'll show you with my calculator. Seeing how we've got a new batch of students. So I'm going to start with number 5, the first one here. The h of -2. Substitute out the x. And solve. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my calculator really quick. Everybody should have one of these blue calculators. If you don't, come see me. We'll get one checked out to you. Or have your advisor let me know you need one. All right, so here's a calculator. Let's pull this up. Here we go. Minimize it. It's not what I wanted. There we go. All right. We are multiplying right here. 3/4 times -2 minus 6. You can do that all in your calculator, but definitely write it out. Your fraction button on these calculators is this n over d key. All right, so I'm going to hit that. At 3, I'm in the numerator. You need to use these arrow keys to go down. All right, now we are in the denominator. Hit the 4. This is really important. You got to make sure you go outside. That takes you out of the um, denominator. So you want to hit that arrow key. Now we could just type in times -2, but let's type it in exactly the way we see it. Let's use our parentheses. So there's our key right there. And this is really important. This is really like, think about this key as like the subtraction key, where this is the key you want to use for negative numbers. Okay, this is like, this attaches the negative to the number. Okay, so use that. All right, so 3/4 times -2, press enter. That equals -3/2. And we still need to subtract 6, so we can do that here. -3/2 minus 6 is equal to -15/2. All right, so my h of -2 is equal to, what do we get? -15/2. All right, so most of the heavy lifting here, guys, is done with your calculator. So as long as you can set it up, the math is all done by the calculator. Okay, so all these problems, there's 3 in each of these, so all these 15 problems, you're just entering them in the value in for x. All right, 6 through 9, you notice that these are identical. We are actually plugging these in for the y, and it's actually telling you you need to find x. So it's helping you out. You obviously aren't plugging this value in for x because we need to find x. Okay, so we are going to take this value and plug it in for our g of x. So we're left with 2 is equal to -x plus 5, and we need to find x. All right, so we need to isolate x. We're going to get rid of this positive 5. We'll do so by subtracting 5 on both sides. I'm left with, what is 2 minus 5? That is -3. Drop down this -x. This is really -1x. So if we want a positive 1x, we need to divide. Divide by -1 on both sides. -1 divided by -1 is +1. That's our goal. And -3 divided by -1 is +3. All right, so there we go. We have found x. All right, if you wanted to, you could definitely write this out like this. The g, oops, not f, the g of 3 is equal to 2. Because there is our x, there's our y in function notation. You don't have to do that, but just saying you could. All right, so 7, 8, 9, it's all the same. You are plugging it in on the left-hand side. So that's what you got to keep track this unit. All right, moving on. All right, number 11, pretty much the same thing. You got the x values. For the x values, you plug them in for x. For this 17, this is on the f of x side. So when you get to 17, you got to plug it in there and solve for x. Your x value will go here. Okay? All right, number 12. So now we are looking for our g of x, okay? F of x, g of x, h of x, it doesn't matter what you use. It's just showing you that it's a function. G is a function of x, so it's the same thing as y, okay? So we are looking for our corresponding g of x or y values. So if I go over to -3 on the x-axis, here's the x-axis, this is our g of x-axis or our y. Okay, so if I go over to -3, that's right here, and I start looking up and down, I'm not going to find the function looking down, but I will find the function right here, and this point is at -3, +1. So that's where the function's at. So when x is -3, y is 1. All right. How about 0? Okay, we look at 0. 0 on the x-axis is right here. Now we're looking for the corresponding y, so we're looking up and down. Where I'm not going to find any function looking up, but I will find some looking down right here. This is at point 0. Oops. 0, -2. So when x is 0, y is -2. All right. What about +3? When I go to +3 on the x-axis, that's right here, and I find the function right there. This is 0.3, -1. So -1 is my y coordinate. Okay. Now this is the opposite. Now we're looking here, we're looking for the x value. So now instead of looking on the x-axis, we're going to start on the g of x or the y. So if I go down to -3, go all the way down to -3, now I'm not looking up or down, I'm looking left. Oops, there we go, left or right for the function. And I find the function right here, and this is at point +1, -3. So here's my x value, here's my y. So when the g of x is -3, my x value is 1. Okay? Sometimes you can get multiple values. I'm just going to add one here. Let's see, let's add, how about -1? So if I go to -1 on the g of x axis or the y axis, that would be right here. All right, and I'm going to find some function here and there. So my x values would be -1 and +3. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Got to keep those in track. All right. Then there's a little bit of an application, just like slightly more difficult problems, but not really. It's really just substituting out for x and then using your calculator. And then number 6, just a little bit more practice of what we were just doing with problem 12. So hopefully this video helped. If you need more help, come see me on Google Meet or have your advisor call me down. Thanks.